and welcome to another video. In today's video, we are gonna build the gremlin. The gremlin pedal is back, and we're gonna build version 1.2.0.0.02220. We're gonna build the next version of this, basically. Sorry. Being silly and goofing off is my thing. Yeah, so some of you have had difficulty building this pedal, issues running into things going not exactly as they should. Some of you have managed to help over on Instagram, and we've had discussion and talked, and it's been kind of clear how you're supposed to go about fixing your issues. Some of you have had the issues that the LM board that we're putting in, which is basically this little thing here, that was not even in focus for a second. But anyway, if you're here, you most likely know what it is I'm talking about. Some of you, the board is broken. Some of you, you put ground wires in the wrong place or something else. But that doesn't matter, because I found this thing right here. This is a tiny little volume and EQ thing. It's not very powerful, but it will do exactly what we needed to do for this pedal. It has a volume and two different tones, one for the bass side and one for the treble side. You can basically decide how much you want. And so instead of putting in a distortion control instead of the trim pot and a volume and a tone from a guitar, we are going to put in this. And we will not put in a pot for the distortion. I don't think it's necessary. You can do that if you want to, if you've seen the other videos, which I, a little bit at least, I'm assuming that you've done because you're here watching this. Then, yeah, I would say that you know exactly how to do that. And so if you want that extra control, you can do that. There's a lot of volume being lost already by using this, because this volume is not letting everything through anyway. So if you think that it's unruly and that you need to tame it with a volume control, this thing will definitely do that. And so, yeah, we're gonna just jump into building this now and put it together and see what happens. And what happens is what we'll see. Okay, so with every build, I try to have something that I'm teaching you, because I want to inspire, but I also want to teach and help you and all of that, so that you can not just build the things that I'm building and follow along, but also that you can experiment for yourself and maybe come up with something cool. And maybe you can make your own videos and teach me something. It doesn't have to, you know, just be one way. It can be the other way around. So this is a multimeter, and you most likely all know about it. It has something called the continuity mode. It's that little symbol right there. And that means that you can check things to see if current goes through it. For example, if these two touch, you will get a beep. And I hope you can hear that. And if I take a wire, for example, like this, and I touch the other end, I get a signal as well, because the signal can pass through. And the same thing goes with things like, for example, this board. The middle pin here is a ground. So if I touch this ground here and this ground here, I get a beep. Right? Now, here comes the part that I want to teach you. These are the connectors for what we're doing. And they have these legs so that you can put on little clip-on things, which we're not going to do. We're going to solder for real wires, and we can solder them to the back right here. And we don't need these pins. But that also means that this board doesn't have to be so long, because this entire piece right here, this entire length, is just there for these pins. It doesn't need to be this big. And if I put it in to this enclosure, I can either drill holes up here to put it in like that, which will not work because the enclosure has these little bracket things. So that won't work. You can see how it won't fit that way, because it will hit those. So what I need to do is I need to unsolder these and reassolder them, but you know, flip the other way so they're not poking at that direction but poking that direction, so the board can lie flat. Super annoying. I rather just put it in like this. So if I put this in like this, I can see that it's just a couple of mil, like 2 mils that needs to go. If I take my multimeter and I hold it, I attach it to this pin right here, I can find where that signal goes. Here. And it's right there. So let's make a little mark with a pen so that we remember it. Let's see, I think it was here, right? Right there. And now we can just take and solder a wire to there. So now I can just attach it. And I'm going to attach it like this, just because I want it out of the way for when we cut. And there we have it. Super quick to attach. And now we can do the same thing with this ground here. And it's a little bit more fiddly because you have to make sure that it's not touching anything else. You don't want to accidentally touch the two other pins. So I'm going to put it up like that. Use this plastic that comes with the clippers to make sure it's not touching anything else. And then I can use the other end of my multimeter. Here we go, and I can, that's where it's connected. There we have one, for example. So let's mark that one. I think it's easier if we solder them all pretty close to each other. So, because as I always say in all my videos, you want to make sure you know what you're soldering. Let's put a black wire there. Now, this is the out. So the green will be out. And we used that one, right? Yeah. That means that that one is like the left or the right because this is stereo. So that's the same. So now we just have to find where that one is connected. So we do the same thing. There we go. And that was the in. So the out from the in on this is going to go there. So there we go. And so now we can just unscrew this one. And so if we just take a look, this is the ground, this is the out, and this is the in. And because we measured with the same leg and we didn't flip, so that we didn't take that in and that out, for example, we know that we're using the same side. We're using the left channel or the right channel. It doesn't really matter. But because this is going to be mono and not stereo. But anyway, so now we can remove this entire piece here so that this will fit inside the enclosure. And so first we're going to remove these pins. I'm just going to cut these off. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to score from the edge of this white circle here all the way to this edge of this white circle here. And it's going to be maybe a little bit fiddly. You can put down a ruler or something straight like this, so that you are sure you're meeting up where you want to meet up. And if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter that much, as long as you don't cut in to any of the connections on this side. Okay? And then we're gonna also try to cut in on the edge here so that we know where we cut. Like so. And we'll meet up those cuts on the back side. And it's gonna be a little bit hard for me to show you because I have to hold it in front of the camera. But hopefully you understand what it is I'm doing. And then you should be able to break it off, which I'm gonna try to do now. Okay, so here it is now. And I just want to say, you can see I'm really, really close. You don't have to go that close. I just went a little bit overboard. And I also did a little bit of a wonky job. So make sure, but this is not going to be an issue for you because you don't have this whole edge between yourself and the camera. You're just going to be able to watch this without using a camera. Or at least unless you're making a video. But yeah, there it is. You can clean it up a little bit. You don't have to remove as much. As you can see, I'm very close to the edges. And I don't want to, cut in a weird way or anything. The blue is in. So we're just going to put that in here. So the out goes to the in. Just like in all the other videos, as a little pedal board thing. Actually, you know what? I'm going to solder it. Because then we have another exciting experiment we can do. This is one of those optional things where you can decide how you want to do, or, you know, how do you want to go about doing these things. So there we have it. Now these boards are connected with the out of this going to the in, and if it wasn't for size, we could have glued that on there. We might just put it like that or something. I don't know. We'll think about that a little bit later. We're also going to attach this ground here to this ground here. So, something like that. And we can unscrew this ground, because I just had an idea. Sometimes you get ideas while you're doing something, and then you're just like, whoa, yeah, that's a cool idea. Okay, next thing we have to do is, we have this one as our output. So basically we will have the guitar come in here and go out there. But before we do that, we need to super quickly drill some holes in this so that this can fit in here. Because as you can see, it doesn't really. So I'll be back once I've done it. I have a video on how to drill holes in an enclosure. So I'm going to assume, which maybe isn't a good idea, but I'm going to assume that you know how to do this. If you don't, watch that video. Okay? Good. 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 Okay, so here is the enclosure now. And I think I've drilled all the holes. I did them at an angle because I realized I didn't have to put it in straight like that, which you can do if you want to. But that, hey, that's going to be fun. So now we have to start mounting parts. And so put them in, and we take rings and a little washer, and we screw things in place. And now I have to put in an LED right there. So I have an LED, and I sanded off the top just because I kind of like the look of that, which and some of you are probably like, that doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I'm gonna put it in, move it about a little bit, and press it up against the very edge so that it lies flat and flush. So I'm just gonna trying to get it to be like that. Did you see any of that? I'm sorry. But there you go. Just a little bit of super glue, and I'm going to leave it to dry for a couple of minutes, and then we can continue. Okay, so here I have everything mounted in. Here you can see the plus and the minus from the DC in, and here you can see the LED. The legs are a little bit crooked, but don't worry, we'll fix that in a bit. Here I have some wires, and I've wired up the switch. I haven't really gone into it in this one because I do that in every video. I feel like, you know, it's the same. You can just either check out the other videos or the switch video for this. I've done a separate video just showing you how to do this. But I also have in every pedal build video this sort of wiring with a little 3.3K resistor. It's all good, okay? Good. So let's start wiring this up. First off, the jack goes in here and can go to this bypass or go up here. And that's where the in to this board here is going to go. So we need a wire that we can attach there. I'm going to see if I have a wire. Just a little bit of solder on the tip and a wire, and we just attach it like so. And we take this board here and we take this in and we pull it over here to the in and we attach it just like so. That's awesome, and it worked just like I wanted to. And here we have the wire that is going to the LED, or at least the first wire that is going to the LED. I'm going to try to get it down here somewhere so that I can cut these legs off a little bit, but we're going to see it. I might not be able to because this is a little bit fiddly. Something like that, maybe. Something like that. And I'll just cut off the rest of this leg. And this one is getting connected together with this one here. So we need to strip this back a little bit. And then we need to pre-tin it. I always pre-tin everything. I sort of haven't really said much about it in this video, maybe. Or I know I haven't, but I mean, I usually say it a lot. And sometimes I feel like maybe I'm repeating myself too much, and that it maybe is a little bit annoying or boring to some of you. But I have to do it like so. And then we move it around. And let's see what the next thing is. We have this ground here that we need to strip back and pre-tin. And I'm going to attach this to the ground of the LED. There we go. And we have all of this leg that we can remove. which is good because we don't actually need that much of the leg. Here we have the out from the EQ, and here we have the pedal out. And I should have used a longer cable, but I didn't think about it enough when I soldered that wire there. So I'm gonna have to put these two together. It's a little bit, you know, noobish or whatever you want to call it, but here we are all noobs and we're hanging out together, having fun, being friendly, and working together, making mistakes. So if you look at this and you think, oh god, he doesn't know what he's doing, please understand that everyone is always not knowing what they're doing. And that's half the fun in being creative, to just connecting wires to things. But anyway, I'll just cover this up with a little bit of tape to make it more acceptable to look at, you know, something like that. It's all good. It's gonna be kind of fiddly to show, but I hope I'm gonna be able to. So we're gonna take this out a little bit and just attach a ground wire here, because we need to have a ground. We have to have another ground going here. So I'm gonna just pull this over here, and I'm gonna give myself a little bit of leeway, so don't make your wires too short. Let's just take a quick look at the inside of this pedal. So this is where your guitar is plugged in. So your guitar comes in here. It's a little bit confusing, I know, but that's the way it is. And it goes here. If you have it in bypass, it will just go from this to this. Get connected up there and go out. But if you press it down and you start up the LED, it will go into this board, come out from this board, go into this, come back out of this. Yeah, here. That's why I'm confused. Here, and go back in here. Go down there and go there, and you'll have your distortion. Okay, awesome, awesome. Lemon squeezy zebra secleasy. We have our controls here that we can move about and change the sound of. And yeah, okay. So here's the thing. You can, if you want to, then this is sort of the thing. If you want to, you can replace this little trim pot with a controller for the distortion. It's all just a question if you want to do it or not do it. You go right ahead and do whatever you want to. But you can also just set it to taste. And I like to just pull it back a little bit. It's kind of hard to show maybe, but if I pull it there, it's as far as it will go, max volume. And if I pull it back just a little bit like so, then some of the interference that you will find and that you will hear and notice disappear, but we get to keep most of the bite. And I don't necessarily feel like we need to complicate it more than that, actually. Moving these pots around and fine-tuning it and putting the volume and the two other controls to where you want it for the sound you're going for is going to be enough. So yeah, let's put on the back and let's put in the screws. Okay, so real quickly, just because I forgot to film it, you have to also ground a ground wire to the jack or something so that everything is grounded together, you know, the jacks and everything. You can use the enclosure as one ground, but then you also have to ground to the enclosure. So that's why I have a wire going there to the Allen board over here. Forgot to film it, but in case any of you want to do this, here is the pedal now. And as I said, best thing to do is probably to put it to taste, the little trim pot in there, and just have fun. Listen to it. When you have it plugged in, you will sort of get a moment where it feels almost like you're entering into a radio sort of place. It's hard to say exactly what it's like, but you'll notice it when you're playing the guitar that there is a certain element of radio signals coming through. And just move it back a little bit and that will be gone. And it will tame it a little bit. But anyway, that's it. This is actually a lot easier to do than you might think. And now we're gonna listen to it, but first I have to draw a gremlin on it because we had a gremlin on this, or we have a gremlin on it, maybe I should say, because I mean the pedal's still around, but we gotta have one on this one as well. So I'm gonna do that real quickly and we'll jump into listening to it and all of that. If you're new here, don't forget to press the like and the subscribe. If you like the video, don't forget to press the like. You know, all of that things. You can also ring the bell for notifications because there is a new video every week and don't miss it. You don't want to. So yeah. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, stay awesome and cool. And go and build this. It's a lot of fun and yeah, making fuzz pedals is like what you're going to do if you build pedals. So you might as well start out building this. Bye.